Hey, welcome to the shop. You know, longbows have been around for hundreds of years, and back in the 13th century, they helped the English army become the foremost military power of that age. But back then, they were carved out of a single piece of wood called a self-bow.
Just think what they could have done if they'd had one of these. A laminated bow like I use, built to deliver greater energy to the arrow. I've been building bows for about 25 years. But today we're building one for Scott, so I got him to do some of the work.
And I better go get started.
Now, we obviously can't show you every small detail of what is really a 2-week process, but we will show you the basics. What we're going to do is laminate a combination of fiberglass and bamboo for the limbs. These pieces are exotic hardwood. They'll be used to make the riser. Then for strength, we'll install overlays on the tips and the sight window, leather for the grip, finally the string. Altogether, 20 different pieces will make one bow. I always start out working on the riser because this is the foundation for the sight window and the grip. I've glued together these pieces, which are a combination of wood and fiberglass, and I'm in the process of rough cutting the outline on the bandsaw. Sanding is very important because the riser has to be true and it has to be feathered at the ends to join perfectly with the limbs.
Meanwhile, Byron's had me prepare the bamboo strips and the fiberglass for those limbs. Now, we've added masking tape to the polished side to protect it, and I'm wearing these gloves to make sure I don't contaminate the bonding surface with oil from my fingers. And to make sure there's no impurities, I'll clean everything with alcohol. Next is mixing the glue. We're using a 2-part epoxy that's weighed to make sure there are exactly equal parts of resin and hardener. All right, that looks good. You know, it takes about 10 ounces of this epoxy to laminate a bow. How's that look? Pretty good?
That looks just perfect, buddy. Thank you.
Okay.
The first thing we're going to do is run a bead of glue on the outside layer of the fiberglass, and then we'll spread it evenly. Well, there it is, 7 layers all bonded to the riser. As you can see at this point, it's still a flat, shapeless blank. But we're building a high-performance longbow, and we'll get that performance by giving the limbs back set. That's why we need the form that I made to do the job. The form has the shape we want for the bow. Covering it with cellophane will keep excess glue off the form.
Okay, right on either side of the riser.
There you go. Let me help you hold that paper down.
All right.
There you go. You got it.
Line it right up in the middle, right?
Right. Next, the blank goes in. Then a layer of rubber and a length of fire hose. Then steel bands and cross bolts for support. The fire hose has a tire valve, so I can pressurize it with air to force the blank into the shape of the form.
With the pressure on, we're ready to cure the blank with heat lamps, and the pressure's on us to take a break while we do that. But we'll be back with more of our longbow project coming up.
You're watching Shooting USA and the Championship Series of America's Gun Sports. The rules governing equipment are very strict in black powder cartridge target shooting. But there are instances where innovation is allowed because the requirements for scoring on paper are different than those for hunting buffalo. Such is the case for Klaus Schattenleiner with failing eyesight in his right eye.
A fellow shooter suggested that I try offset sights and shoot with my left eye rather than switching to left-handed shooting, which I tried, but it didn't work. It was okay for prone, but offhand is very difficult. So my scores went up probably an average of 8 points in silhouette because I can see now.
Many of the rifles seen on the line are modern reproductions. However, the true prizes are the originals, like the Trapdoor Springfield owned by Dennis Burns.
This is a model 1873 Springfield, originally made in 1883. Got the date right there. It probably was fitted with a 79 model sight, and then they converted it to the Buffington rear sight before it left the arsenal. This is a standard infantry rifles for the U.S. up to about 1891.
Dennis is shooting the traditional government cartridge, the 4570. To help the old trapdoor keep pace with the modern reproductions, he selects only the highest quality components for his ammo.
With 62 grains of Swiss 1.5F powder and Federal 215 primers. Muzzle velocity when we checked it was about 1,200 feet per second.
Whether originals or reproductions like this Uberti high wall, the old rifles from the late 1800s can be an invitation to relive history and compete in NRA national competition. Want more information? We've got links for you at our website, shootingusa.com.
In the small town, Carter became a new man, growing his hair out and assuming the new identity of Rodney Von Thun. He found work as a roofer and kept a low profile. But Carter joined the crowd on New Year's Day, hanging out at a local bar. He was having a drink when all of a sudden, the cops showed up.
We went to the bar because we received a complaint of a stolen vehicle in the parking lot. We decided to go inside the bar and get names of everyone present in the bar at that time.
The first person Trooper Smith questioned was one Rodney Von Thun.
We gave a name and date of birth, social security number, and when we ran that, we ascertained that that was not him.
So Trooper Smith arrested him for providing false information. Because it was a minor crime, he was in and out of jail in less than a day without anyone learning his real identity. Carter had to be the luckiest fugitive on the planet. It was the third time he'd slipped away from the cops. That could have been the end of the story, except for one man who had his own stroke of luck and a talent for spotting bad guys.
I'm particularly good with faces.
Trooper Smith would soon show everyone how good. The day after the arrest at the bar, he found himself in the lobby of the Mayfield Police Department.
I just glanced, and for whatever reason, Pinckney's picture caught my eye.
Pinckney Carter's picture was on a wanted poster, and it just happened to be on the top of a stack of posters tacked up at this little police station in the middle of Kentucky.
I showed it to my sergeant and explained to him that he looked familiar, and it may even be the guy we dealt with the night before.
Detectives clicked on AMW.com and studied Carter's picture to be sure they had the right man.
Looked at the photos that they had from a previous arrest.
I knew we had the right guy because we had compared the pictures from the America's Most Wanted posters.